All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music and making lots of money in the music world. Not me, but one of the most famous bands on the planet today made a ton of money. And of course, we're talking about Pink Floyd. And we're doing this video in real time for a handful or maybe two handfuls of real people out here, just like you and just like me. So, yeah, the big news today is that Pink Floyd sells their catalog for $400 million. $400 million. Holy crap, Batman. All right, before I cover the Pink Floyd sellout or sell off, here is the band Atlantic. I've been promoting this off and on now since probably June of this year. It's now October. Time flies when you're having fun. And this is a pretty decent album. People should go listen to it. It's called Another World. It comes to us courtesy of our friends over at Escape Music, a great record label. You know, I still have one foot in the melodic rock world, and I do so somewhat reluctantly. But when something comes at me like this, I go, okay, all right, you got me. I like it. So, again, if you like bands like Saga, Asia, Foreigner, there are probably a couple of other 80s bands that resemble this a little bit, but it does have its own vibe. All right. Atlantic and their album, Another World. It's out of this world. All right. And speaking of out of this world, yeah, Pink Floyd has made $400 million from their catalog. Apparently, Roger and David finally just agreed to cash out. A little ironic, coming from a band who wrote a song called Money, basically mocking the industry. And they essentially just sold out to the industry in a much bigger way because now the control of their music goes over to one entity. The Financial Times reports that the band has agreed to sell the recording rights to their catalog to Sony. The deal covers the copyrights only, just to the band's recorded music, not their songwriting. So that's interesting. It also includes rights to the band's name and likeness, which can cover things like merchandising and possible movies. Very interesting. So, all that Pink Floyd gear that you see in your local department store, and that makes a ton of money. When you see somebody who's like 15 years old wearing a Pink Floyd t-shirt and you're like, that's interesting. That's interesting. The band's last album was done before that person was born, but okay, sure. Yeah. Um it's cool in a way to see the next generation wearing the gear. I don't know if they know what Pink Floyd really means, but does it matter? No, so long as they're selling the merchandise. By the way, this isn't the first time that Pink Floyd's catalog has been the subject of being put up for sale. Back in 2022, there were several companies battling it out, reportedly interested, but the sale, for whatever reason, and I think I know the reason, it was put on hold. And this, I think, because Gilmore and Waters were fighting about politics or whatever. Um, and Dave's wife was saying mean things about Roger. And I don't know. It was getting in the way of things. So they couldn't come to an agreement. Gilmore and Sony, by the way, have not commented on the deal. So the Financial Times putting this out there. Waters was unavailable for comment. That's not surprising. According to Eric Clapton, Roger Waters is a difficult person to track down. And you would think Eric would be able to find him. Pink Floyd, who was made up of Gilmore, Waters, Nick Mason, who is still alive. So he's enjoying a portion of the 400 million as well. And the estate of the late Richard Wright. It says here they're one of the best-selling rock bands of all time, thanks to albums like Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, and Dark Side of the Moon. They have sold more than 250 million records worldwide. So some people ask me, and I don't know the answers to these questions, but Why would they sell this out for 400 million? Shouldn't they just keep holding out for more? I don't know if they're going to get much more than 400 million. They might, but take the money and you take care of future generations within the clans of all of these Pink Floyd guys for generations. $400 million. You would think, unless you have the Journey American Express card and you're using it 400 times, that 400 million would go a long way. But you don't know. You don't know. I mean, maybe that's not enough. See, when Sony gets this, what they're thinking is, okay, we can make way more than 400 million on this. So we'll pay the 400 million. They're probably looking at doubling that, if not tripling, like going over $1 billion in revenue, because this goes on in perpetuity, basically forever. So you got to give Sony credit because they probably know what they're doing and they probably know how to market and do the merchandising, and they won't do it willy-nilly. They have people who can maximize income and profits and hence more money. And it's just ironic that the band used to make fun of that sort of thing back in the 70s with the fat cat cigar smoking dude, like the guy in the Boston song Rock and Roll Band. That's just, that guy showed up and made a deal for $400 million. So anyway, so much for principle and holding to your values and all this stuff. I mean, these guys they're capitalists. They're entrepreneurs. They know that this is way more than just the music they made. It's taken on a whole life and persona of its own. That's why it's actually a little bit disappointing that Gilmore, who has new material out there, didn't fire up Pink Floyd one more time. And yes, you would need Roger to do that. So I guess it's no deal. I mean, Nick Mason is in. Nick Mason would do it in a heartbeat. But it's kind of hard to run Pink Floyd on just Nick Mason and David Gilmour. Although crazier things happen, right? All you need these days, ask Don Henley, is one original guy in the band. And you can just continue on and call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. So anyway, congratulations to Pink Floyd. You've cashed out successfully. And the world, I don't know if I'm going to start seeing these songs in Ozempic commercials or whatever, but the world may not be a better place because of this. We'll find out soon enough, though, right? All right, one more time for the band Atlantic. You should check this out. Escape Music. Check out all of the stuff over on Escape Music. It's reliably and consistently good. And I can't say that about too many record labels. I complain a bit about the marketing, which is almost zero. It just is. I'm the marketing right now for this band, Atlantic and Another World. Uploading a song to YouTube or to Spotify, that's nice and people can find it, but a lot of people don't know this stuff is out here. In fact, there's a new song out, same record label, by a band called Lone Rider, which was my number one thing like 2 or 3 years ago. Just if you like the whole Bad Company thing, Lone Rider, go look up Lone Rider and go check out Atlantic while you're at it. All right. I'm in a new month. So again, want to thank all the patrons, all the YouTube members, and all those buy me a coffee people. If you want to check out how you can support the channel, there are 3 ways to do so in the description of every single video I do. But as a quick recap, it's Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, and YouTube memberships. And I want to thank all of my patrons. I've got people who have been patronizing for years. So I want to thank them for doing that. Your support keeps this channel going and keeps my spirits up when on some days I'm not at 100%. You know what I mean? So I want to thank a couple of the patrons over the last couple of days, sending words of encouragement over. That is much appreciated as well. Anyway, Harmless Dave signing off. Pink Floyd cashing out.